the kite, and the bracelet. Bill Miller sat on a sofa, the familiar cushion embracing him as he declared his simple passions to the empty air or perhaps to the television screen that dominated the room. Football, he said to himself with a nod of satisfaction. He loved football. It was his favorite kind of ball. Then, with a slightly more mischievous glint in his eye, he thought of snacks. Cheeseball, he added. He loved cheeseball. It was his second favorite ball. The world was simple when defined by sports and snacks. However, the domestic peace was soon interrupted by the sight of his son, Brian, fussing over a strange contraption. Bill looked at him, wondering what was going on. Brian, focused and intense, explained that he was just fixing his kite. He complained that the aerodynamics of it were all wrong, and he felt the pressure of time, noting he had only got 2 months to fix it before kite club season began. Bill was incredulous. There was a kite club, he asked. Brian confirmed it, adding with a touch of pride that he was the vice president. He explained the stakes of his high office. If the president could not fulfill his duties, Brian would be the one to get beat up by the football team. It was a hierarchy of high school social dynamics that Bill could barely comprehend. Bill's plan to watch the game hit another snag when he realized the living room was occupied. He had intended to watch the game, but his daughter Lauren and her boyfriend Chris had just started watching their movie. Bill greeted Chris, noting that the boy was over at their house a lot. Chris, ever polite, simply said he liked it there. Bill reminisced about the days before there were so many people on the couch, suggesting they go watch the movie at Chris's house. Chris's answer was simple and, to Bill, deeply disturbing. They did not own a television. Bill could not imagine such a life. He asked what they did in their living room, to which Chris replied they sat around and read the paper. When Bill sarcastically asked what they did in their bathroom, Lauren intervened, pleading for her father to go watch the game upstairs. Bill retreated, muttering about children and how they were his least favorite kind of people. Later that night, the house was quiet until the clock struck midnight. Bill was in the kitchen, perhaps seeking a late-night snack, when he saw Chris sneaking down from Lauren's room. The air grew tense. "Mr. Miller," Chris stammered, surprised. Bill demanded to know what he was doing coming down from Lauren's room after midnight. Chris insisted they were just studying and fell asleep accidentally. Bill was not buying it, threatening that Chris might fall down the basement stairs accidentally. The boy was terrified, swearing they just fell asleep and claiming he might throw up if Bill came any closer. The commotion brought Judy, Bill's wife, downstairs. Bill explained he found Chris sneaking out of Lauren's room. Chris kept protesting their innocence, blaming a big turkey sandwich for his drowsiness. This only angered Bill more, as he realized Chris had eaten his turkey too. Judy tried to be the voice of reason, telling Bill he could not throw the neighbor boy down the stairs. Bill was adamant, convinced that the boy was trying to become a man in their daughter's room. Judy trusted Chris, reminding Bill that he was a nice boy. Bill, however, brought up Chris's parents, who were lesbians, suggesting that the boy might be more experienced or had seen things in a household he deemed hip and funky, like hot tub parties or pillow fights that got out of hand. Judy dismissed this, arguing that being lesbians did not make them sex fancy. The next day, Bill and Judy visited Chris's parents, Shelley and Terry. They tried to be neighborly, praising the women for making the neighborhood feel hip like Greenwich Village. Shelley and Terry spoke fondly of Chris, calling him polite and mature. Bill, skeptical as ever, believed the boy was just looking for a place to park his boy parts. He told them about the incident, but the women trusted their son, believing he and Lauren had truly just fallen asleep. Bill warned them that men lie, but Shelley and Terry stood their ground, proud of how they raised Chris to be respectful. They mentioned they knew plenty about men from their own fathers, brothers, and past boyfriends, even mentioning they had once dated the same guy in college. Bill was intrigued by this detail, but Judy hurried him away. Back at home, Bill was still grumbling. He felt the neighbors were being fooled and found it unnatural that they did not own a television. Judy suggested that instead of being hostile, Bill should get to know Chris to earn his respect. Bill decided to take Chris to the batting cages to bond. At the batting cages, Bill tried to act like a buddy, a friend, one of the guys. He told Chris he knew a thing or two and was drunk from life's cup. Chris looked at him skeptically. When they started hitting, Bill struggled with the fast pitches, eventually moving to the slowest cage, the one with a picture of a turtle on it. Chris, on the other hand, was a natural, explaining his moms had played varsity softball. As they talked, Chris brought up a friend who was dating a girl who wanted to move too fast. Bill quickly realized Chris was talking about himself and Lauren. He was outraged, offended that Chris would imply Lauren was fast. In his agitation, Bill stepped on the plate and got hit by a ball, twice. Meanwhile, at home, Brian was preparing his kite for a trial run. Judy teased him about it, calling it a little pelican kite. Brian corrected her, stating it was a pterodactyl capable of withstanding a scale 5 wind strength. Judy joked that it would be impossible to get a girlfriend while carrying that kite. When Bill returned, he told Judy that the outing was educational, his swing was too fast, and so was their daughter. He was ready to confront Lauren, but Judy insisted on handling it. She wanted to avoid a shouting match. Judy went to Lauren's room, where Lauren and her friend Becca were hanging out. After Becca left, Judy tried to have a mother-daughter chat. She told Lauren that Chris felt things were moving too fast. Lauren was mortified that her father had been talking about her romantic life with her boyfriend. The conversation turned heated when Judy mentioned reputations. Lauren fired back, bringing up Judy's own supposed reputation in high school, a story she had heard from Bill, Aunt Linda, and even the crossing guard. Judy, shocked and insulted, told Lauren to go to her room, forgetting they were already in Lauren's room. The situation was a mess. Judy felt she had lost control, and Bill suggested they needed a rational third party. They brought Lauren downstairs to talk. Bill tried to be the calm one, but he immediately spotted something on Lauren's neck.
It was a hickey.
Lauren tried to claim she bumped into a door with her neck, but nobody believed her. She ran back upstairs in a huff. The Millers then marched over to Chris's house. Bill was convinced Chris was an animal. Shelley and Terry defended their son, but then the truth started to come out. Chris arrived and saw Lauren, and a misunderstanding ensued where he thought she was cheating on him. Finally, Lauren confessed. They had given each other hickeys using a vacuum cleaner. The reason was even more surprising. It was about colored bracelets at school that signified different levels of physical intimacy. Lauren and Chris didn't have any and felt like babies, so they used the vacuum to get red bracelets to fit in. Chris was so embarrassed he looked like he might throw up, and his moms led him away. Back at the Miller house, Judy talked to Lauren privately. She understood the pressure of high school, but told Lauren that when she decided to do things with boys, it should be for the right reasons, not because of a bracelet. Lauren appreciated the talk, and they shared a moment of understanding. Outside, Brian was finally flying his kite. It was higher than ever before. He was thrilled, calling for someone to hold it while he went to get his camera for the kite club. But as he left, the kite dipped and crashed. The moment was over. The kite had moved on, and as the day ended, the family had to move on too, a little wiser and a lot more tired.